What's up, YouTube? 2020 Tantra on Amazon. Info in the description. The Instagram's also in the description. So, celibacy, the celibate. That is, again, if you just break down the word, and the etymology is the celibate. Just like masturbating. Anything that isn't procreation is masturbation. So, whether it's by yourself or with a partner, if it's not intercourse, if it's not to have a child, then that's masturbation. So you're baiting the master. You're bringing the master is the blood or the light. So you're baiting the master to the head of the penis or whatever. So that's masturbation. So celibation or celibate would be to put the sexuality in a cell, or to confine it, or to repress it, or however you want to look at that. Because if you have a body, you're always having sex in a quantum sense. Because you are your own ancestor. And children are ancestors. So, if you have a body, you are always having sex at every moment in a quantum sense. So, you want to align with the correct sex. So it's all about your proper alignment in your spine and otherwise, your organs, everything. Your spine determines all of that, but it's about the breath pattern. The breath pattern will change the spinal alignment, and then your sexual alignment will change, and then you align with the proper sex, and then life can proceed. Then you can evolve from your human experience. The way to identify with something greater than a body is to participate in the oneness. So as you participate in the oneness and you partake in the course, as you enter the course and you go through the course and you create, or as you clean your body and you create a template to produce from as a springboard, a quantum springboard, like a time machine, because that's what a child is. We're all echoes, so you're just creating another library for the breath to put the echo in to create a ripple effect. So that is entering the course. That is you having no fear and having total humility and knowing that everything segues into everything, and knowing that there's no separation, the Son is the Father, and that you can pass that torch with no fear. Because if you don't do it consciously and you don't align with your correct sex, then you're going to come back unconsciously. But if you do embrace the sexuality part of you and the sexual basis of existence, everything is sex itself. Anything that is in general is sex in a different form. Everything is sex. It's an extension of sex. All creation is coming from sex, regardless. So you have to align with the best sex to align with creation, because creation is the source. So as you do that, then you can change the trajectory, the quantum trajectory, and then you can evolve from the human circumstance, from the identity of being a human, once you participate in the oneness. But as you resist, the resistance becomes your God, because you're resisting the sex. And then you repress your sexuality, you put it in a cell, a celibation. So one way or another, you're having sex, regardless. So your body, your astral body, which has become so numb, such a slut, that it became crystallized into this dense form. So that's the misalignment right there. That's the misalignment from astral body and earth body, however you want to call it. That's how time is even produced. Because time and space are one thing, and as they separate, that's what life is. So the separation is misalignment. That's the astral body and the earth body misaligning. The astral body we could call that God, really, in a sense. You could look at it like God is the one soul with 7 billion bodies. And as far as it's pretty much like the little brother. You got the big brother or the big mother, however you want to look at it, then God, little brother or little sister or whatever. Then you got the body, which is the reflection of all of that. And there's no separation in any of this process. But if there's misalignment between astral and earth, then you have time, then you have separation, then you have fear, then that's separation. That's where that all comes from. That's how you can even perceive distance, because there is no distance. All space is filled. So it's just really about it's really about a lot of things. I'm gonna go into a lot of things with this video. There's never lack ever. It's just misalignment or misarrangement. Always. The elements are always here, and if you have to perform some type of alchemy externally, you will always have you'll always have more than enough energy to get to the next element to conduct the alchemy. So there's never any fear or any lack. It's just about observing and staying present. But you can't be present if your body doesn't have the energy to house the presence. And your body won't have the energy to house the presence if it's misaligned. It can. It just won't. It's just like a car that has an exhaust leak. The fuel doesn't funnel through. The source can't funnel through you. The breath can't funnel through you if you're misaligned, because the breath is God basically, and the food and all that gets in the way of that. The breath is constantly pushing through you. It's one breath, many bodies is pushing through you, creating libraries to store itself, because it's just solidifying or concentrating. Concentration is the breath focusing on itself. That's what a body is the universe observing itself. So it's the breath concentrating, viewing itself. So that, it's creating a body. So as that happens, it's basically storing light into that. And, and through that process, the light itself can sometimes become self-actualized or self-identified, and there can be separation in there, because it's just cells. It's all just cells. Alcoholism, all of those things is somebody synchronizing with a single cell. Every thought is a cell. So whenever you hear a self, or however you want to look at it, it's a cell. Every thought is a cell. So it's self-actualized at some level. It wants to exist. It insists it exists. So every cell is a thought. It's coming for that throne. It's coming for that God. Every thought that you identify with is your God or is the creator. So as a cell comes for that throne, it's coming to take the steering wheel of the body, which is the universe. So the cell is coming to erode all the other cells, throw them into unconsciousness, and convert them into blood, basically, to convert them into energy. Make all the other cells unconscious, dissolve them, turn them into energy, so that this one cell can sit atop the throne, basically just like the same way you would sacrifice all these other organs for the sake of taste. For these few amount of cells in your tongue, for that fleeting moment of taste, you sacrifice pancreas, gallbladder, liver. That's a hierarchy inside being created. That's separation and hierarchy and status being created. And that unfolds externally as a result of that. So that's what's happening. You have a cell that's coming for the throne. That's what a thought is. So when you identify with the thought, that becomes your government for all your other cells. So there's a cell that's constantly trying to dissolve all the other cells. So then it's trying to take in other spirits to dissolve all the other cells. It's just alchemy. So you're taking in the alcohol and the food and all of that. Anything to erode the other cells, make them dead, so that they can turn into parasites, so that they can be possessed and controlled and converted into energy. And then they can be farmed. And then that one cell becomes the master, a parasitic master in a sense, however you want to look at it. That one cell colonizes the body, basically. So you basically have all those other cells. They're dead presidents. They are being converted into money. That's what dead presidents are, money. That's what energy is. It's money. It's money in transit. It's currency. It's money that has solidified to that degree. So all money is rooted in human energy, because we created it. So we give it value. It's all, and our energy is based in our sexuality, which is created from the ether. So however you want to look at it, it's spiritual energy. So as that cell takes the throne, it's dissolving all these other, it's driving you to eat and destroy yourself, so that all those other cells can be converted into money to support that one cell's lifestyle. So then that cell eventually destroys everything to the point where you become a total parasite, and that cell has taken the wheel, the steering wheel of the vehicle of the universe, of the Tao. And then it perpetuates itself on your lineage. And that's how you lose yourself in pockets of your infinity, where a parasite creeps in and takes generations of you out, because there was misalignment, misarrangement there, as to where there's not clarity in the wave of vibration of your lifetimes. So it's just static and fuzz in here because there's misarrangement from one cell, creating the disharmony, however you want to call it, disharmony, disrespect, misalignment, whatever you want to call it. So that's how things are forgotten, because separation ensues. And as separation happens, then you lose yourself. The more that you feed into separation, the more that the void gets bigger. Things have titles, and they become separate from you, and then life becomes against you, and then you dissolve, you disintegrate into the Tao instead of integrating into the Tao. So that's how that goes. So basically, as that cell is taking the throne, it's propping up its parasite on your sexual energy to perpetuate itself for eternity on your wave of energy. So it's gonna go through your kids. So it has totally taken your body to where it's looking through your body. It's a parasite, parallel site, looking through your body, dissolved all of what is you, your essence, turned that all into money, solidified all that essence into objects and presence instead of actual presence. So spiritual presence instead of presence objects. That's the exchange there. You exchange the cells, which are people or spiritual entities or whatever, spirits, energy, whatever you want to call it, minerals, whatever, however you want to look at it, internally or externally. This is a tough one because it's kaleidoscopic, but it's always internal and external. It's always one cell being an external person and an internal person. It's always a mirror. So when I see another person, I can only see myself, and I can only talk to the cell that is me in them. And I only see me, the cell that is them. It's the mirror. So we only communicate through this cell. You don't have to go outside of yourself for telepathy. It's something that you go inside of yourself for. So whenever you meet someone, you're talking to the cell in them that is you. And they're talking to the cell in you that is them. So that's just the angels in proper arrangement. It's just all about having things in proper alignment. Putting air first, getting your breathing done first, then you get your sunlight, your fire, or your hot water to get to getting your air, fire, water, earth. Proper arrangement. That's harmony. The creator set that up. You can follow it or you can get lost. And that's pretty much how that goes. So that's harmony. You can follow that. That's there. That's there available for you morning, noon, and night. So there's just following the cycles and paying attention. That's really about it. You can remember any past life or any memory because they continue to cycle. They continue to cycle. Anything you've forgotten continues to cycle relative to now. So you don't have to look back. It's going to keep coming back to you. Just stay paying attention now. The movie going to keep repeating until you pay attention to it. You don't have to go anywhere. So it's all about what you identify with, though. So if you identify with the body, then you'll be limited there. So anyway, let me get into the arrangement again in the earthly positioning and the silicon trees and the silicon seeds. If the proper human seed is planted, then a family tree will be planted. So a proper silicon seed will sprout. So you had the angels or people in different echelons or branches of government on different levels or branches of the silicon trees. So if you're dark in appearance, then you have a lot of light. That's why you can absorb sunlight, because the sun is dark. It's really black or ultraviolet. So the upper echelons, those wings, because your wings are your lungs, really. So the people that would breathe at the higher levels would be the darker people. That's why the wider nose, and they would be at that place. To be the darker people at the top of the tree, in that positioning at the top of the tree. And then the people that are the dark souls, they appear the whitest, will be closer to the earth with the different lungs, different wings. They fly in a different way. They go into the earth. And then, because the darker the flesh, the deeper the roots, but the flesh is really the soul. So if you're really white, you're really dark. And if you're really dark, you're really light. It's the paradox. And that's how the roots and the top of the tree, there's no separation. And it's just about arrangement. And when the angels take their place, then there's harmony. And there's then the family tree doesn't forget itself, and everything is everything. And then there's complete trust. So it's just about the arrangement. The seed is the fruit. So it's just different echelons of angels, or echelons. Echo. We're all echoes. So it's just a different echelon or longitudes, however you want to look at it. It's just spirit. It's branches of spiritual government. So that's about it, man. That's what the silicon trees were, and that's how you could travel the earth too back then too, or back now, however you want to look at it. Because if you plant the right seed, then you